Okay. All right, ready to roll, guys. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope everybody has warmed up a little bit. It's supposed to be a little bit warmer here today. So yeah, super excited to talk to you guys about our topic, work roles versus career pathways today. So let's jump in. So we have some, there we go, curriculum updates to share, as well as our topic of the month. So if you have checked the repository, we now have course outlines with each of the shells that we have in there. There may be one missing here and there that we're still working on. But the course outline basically is just going to tell you what topics are covered in that course. And this was a request from CCN leadership so that when they're talking to their advisory board members, or when one of our four-year schools wants to see what exactly is taught in that class, they can look without digging all the way into the zip folder or anything like that. So that's there. We did last time, we also uploaded a nice work role activity. That's an activity that you guys are welcome to use in your classes. That's really going to help once you've identified the work roles that your program is associated with, then this would be a good activity. So it's really going to be something good to look at after we do today's exercise. All right. So work roles versus career pathways. So we thought it'd be a good idea, or the CCN leadership thought it'd be a good idea to make sure we're clarifying this for folks, so that we can educate our students on what exactly we're preparing them for. What are those specific careers, and what are the steps that they need to take to reach those careers? So when we're talking about a work role category, we're using that nice work role framework, which I'll show you guys in a minute. You've probably already all been there. But basically, you've got the categories that are just going to be kind of a high level grouping of some cybersecurity functions. And then inside those categories, you're going to find specific work roles. And so these aren't the names of a specific job title, but it's more like, okay, so inside each of those work roles, there's going to be a lot of specific occupations that are under that work role category. So those two things are going to be different from your career pathway. So the career pathway that we're going to talk about today, or the way we're going to define it today, are the steps that are completed along the way to securing a specific job. So some of those items are going to be your education that's needed, certifications, your internships that you've identified, that you have available, and then skills and tools that they would need. The nice thing is a lot of this work has already been done. It's going to be more about being able to identify and then describe it to our students in the community. So career pathways. So the reference that we're using, like I said, is that nice framework. So I'm going to go there and talk to you guys about what, I think it's easier just to show, kind of what we're talking about here. So let me head over there. All right. So that link is going to take us here. Okay. You guys have all seen this, right? So the way that the curriculum alignment committee thought it'd be a good way to describe these overarching pathways is going to be using these work role categories, right? Because a lot of work's already gone into organizing it this way. So we've got these big categories: oversight and governance. You can read on down, and then inside of each one of those work roles, you're going to have some groupings of excuse me, inside of those categories, you're going to have some groupings of work roles that you are going to identify for your program. So, for example, a lot of us are cyber defense. So a lot of us are probably going to fall into the protection and defense overarching category. And inside of there, this is where we're going to vary. So if you're more digital forensics, then that's going to be one of your, top choices in there. If you're more SOC analyst, you're probably going to choose defensive cybersecurity or incident response, or vulnerability analysis. So you choose what is most closely related to your program. So you've got that work role category. So my category is protection and defense. Inside of there, I've got my 3 work roles. And now what I'm going to do is, having my top 3, now I can identify the names of the specific careers, the jobs that would be associated with that, like level 1 SOC analyst. So what are our students going to be looking for? It's also helpful to identify if you're blue team, red team, purple team, white team, and that sort of thing as well. So you've got your overarching category, you're identifying those 3 work roles. And now what we're going to do is, inside of those work role categories, we've identified the names of those careers. And now what are the steps to reach that? What does that career pathway look like? So before I go any further, I did want to say that this is the, where am I? I think right there. Yeah. Okay. This is kind of a guideline for how we understand how the CCN wants us to start, the language that CCN wants us to start using when we're describing our program. So I want to pause and see if there's any questions or any clarification that anybody needs. And if I can get my people to check the chat and see if there's anything. So I'm curious, have any of you guys already done that work to identify the category and the work roles? Okay, well, there's going to be a survey that I'm going to have you guys do, because I love those. So if you haven't done this work already, that's fine, but this is some information that we're going to need to start gathering, because as the curriculum alignment committee is putting things together, we want to make sure that we're pulling together resources that are going to be the most helpful for everybody, and we're hitting the topics that everybody is going to find valuable. So I will give you some homework in a little while. So okay, so your career pathways, like I said, the steps to reach that career. So what are the, so for level 1 SOC analysts, we're talking about Security Plus, education, you can have that 2-year or 4-year degree. And then, so when you think about internships, that would be important in that, for that particular job role. You want to make sure it's something blue team, that they are going to interact with, like the CCN SOC scholarship, and then that sort of thing. So we would want to make sure our students are seeking out the internships that match that career path. And then we also want to start identifying the skills and tools. So this is where I would refer back to those categories, those work role categories. if I can. So inside of here, defensive cybersecurity, you're going to see knowledge, skills, and tasks. So all this stuff is already done for you. It's fantastic. So if you're teaching a class and you want to know, okay, what activities should I really focus on? Well, you have a lot of options here to pull from. And see, for me, this is where I would go to AI and I would say, you know, these are this is my course topic. Here is the course description. Here are the the big topics I want, them to cover, and create an activity where they're going to show how they're using this particular skill or this particular tool, So this is really a guiding framework for creating meaningful activities in your program as well. And then the knowledge statement. So we're not going to hit every single thing, but we at least have an idea of maybe, if you're picking and choosing what you do and don't want to include in your activities for your specific classes. All right, questions or thoughts on that?
Victoria, if
Yes.
you're just an FYI with chat, if you're not real sure which pathway or nice work role your particular assignment or even your course or your module meets, plug that into chat. It will tell you which work role that closely aligns to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one way. If you're still not real comfortable with picking out which one it is, chat will help you out on that.
Nice. Let's see. Some of this stuff, the nice work roles, this was, we kind of went over this in a previous meeting. And that's pretty much a summary of what I just talked about, how to determine that, the work roles inside of those categories. And then the task statements and skills and things. So what I'd like to do at this point is get some feedback from you guys. Like, how are you, like, where are you with this? Like, does your program already kind of have some the category identified at least, or work roles, or does somebody need help with that? Like, we want to be as helpful as we can during our meetings, and then also if we need to meet with a small group and kind of brainstorm, because that's how I do things. I like talking to other people because it really helps me kind of think through some of the important things that I'm might not always think about right away. So I would love to have an open forum for anybody that wants to talk about how you chose yours, or what you would need to know to help get you working on this path. Hi, Cynthia.
Hi.
Have you been listening?
I came in, I missed the beginning.
Okay.
So I don't know how you started. So I may be repeating what you said, but this work is really, really important. And one of the things that we're finding when we're interviewing students for internships is they don't know what they're prepared for. They don't know what work roles they're prepared for. They don't know what career paths are out there. They just want a job in cyber. And that tells me that we're not doing a very good job of making it clear to them. And not just making it clear to them, but does that mean it's not clear to us in our programs what we're preparing students for? So we should have a pretty good idea of, I mean, we have all these tools available to us, and we know what those entry-level positions are. So programs need to be aligned with those entry-level positions, but then students need to understand, just like if I wanted to go to medical school, I want to be a neurosurgeon. I'm not going to be a neurosurgeon with an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree. I know that's the first step, and I know what the steps are. Then I know I get a 4-year degree, I go to medical school, I do this residency, I do that residency, and I become a neurosurgeon. Students understand that. We need to develop a similar thing for our students so they have a clear picture of, okay, I want to pursue this career path. What do I need to get there? And what sort of internship am I looking for? What sort of first job am I looking for? What am I qualified to do with my degree? So I'm with Victoria. I would like to hear what you all have done or not done. And let's think about how we can help students, clearly identify their career goals and start helping them move down that road.
Absolutely. Is it okay? I was going to go ahead and just add in. I know you guys get tired of hearing me every time we have one of these discussions, but
Never.
but one of the first things I do with the so I have a non-credit program that I run. Along with also I influence what we do on the curriculum side. But to give you an idea what I do on the non-credit side first is the very first assignment they have after doing their personal reflection is for them to find out what their career pathway is inside of cybersecurity. So they'll go through the try cyber exercise to be able to pick some of those different career roles to be able to decide what they may be naturally interested in based upon their past life skills, maybe as opposed to new skills that they may be interested in but not 100% sure. I try to lean on that a little bit more because I've found students to be able to find jobs quicker if some of the things they've done in the past life, may, like project management, transfers over into their cybersecurity career, and they may not start all the way. That kind of helps close that 2-year, 3-year gap on a lot of these roles that a lot of people are looking for as well, too. So we go through that process. Once they go ahead and I know what their career paths are, I set up, rather that's through Hack the Box and as well as the mentor from industry that works with these students, and someone who is in that pathway so they can give them the guidance. The first question is, if I had to do it all over again, what will I do? So then the student then can have someone that's working in industry guiding them on different certifications, different trainings, different conferences, different meetups, different events to be able to be a wraparound for them to get the exposure for that pathway. What else I've found about that is once someone really knows where they're going early, you get higher level of enthusiasm for even doing the parts of the curriculum they don't want to do because they know it's an end to into a means or means to an end for them to be able to get to where they're going. And so we build it that way and allow that support system to be there. On the curriculum side, my son Elijah actually is over the SEC 110, like their first cybersecurity course, and that Try Cyber is a part of that course. And then we spill them over into our cybersecurity club, Decrypted, where we have the different pathways that are there. And then we map and have a strategy as well, too, with mentors from the various different pathways to be able to work with those students while they're working on their 2-year degree program, too. So it's kind of a copy and paste with a slight different modification, depending on the interest that's there for the students. And then also, too, we have our certificate programs that most of our curriculums have, too. So we have one for forensics and ethical hacking and so forth. And then we may have lead instructors or individuals who help with the cybersecurity clubs and keeping the students, like I said, engaged at all levels for the pathways that they're interested in. And that's kind of how we handle it, and how we've been doing things over at Wake Tech. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
So I've been doing it. Thomas is our evangelist here. He went to the competencies training early on. I sent him and he came back and brought all kinds of ideas to the rest of us. So I mean, I did an activity today with my OS class, and rather than just saying here's some scenarios, I actually put in the role of a penetration tester, in the role of a system administrator. Here's the scenario and which tool would you prefer to use and how to discuss it as groups. So just exposing them to that, I think. And then we do our retreat conference every year and we'll bring professionals in and career fair and bring back some of our grads who can talk about what they do and how they got there after they graduated from college. And so that I think that helps to get that exposure. But we're trying to do that more and more with our activities, because it's actually pretty easy to plug that in. And then we're redesignating in 27, so I'm preparing for that. So we're kind of down the road a ways with that.
I did want to add a little something. I didn't want to dominate this conversation because some of you guys know this is my wheelhouse, this portion. But one of the things also too we do, for instance, we had Eleanor Taylor come and talk to my Sentinel students yesterday. We have different guest speakers from these different programs that come and talk to the classrooms as well. I'll say that. And then another thing we do is, for instance, we're going to be working with our automotive department and team as well, as it relates for cybersecurity across disciplines, to be able to show that relationship where we're pairing in and we're learning from them and them learning from us, and having that relationship there. We're not going in and saying, hey, we know more and we tell you how to lock things down, but we're just trying to leverage and really forge a partnership so that we can spread the influence of the cybersecurity program across that space as well too. So those things like that, students have been wildly excited, energized, and pumped up. I have actually this cohort, I think I got about 4 students that are interested in the critical infrastructure side of the house too. And they've been doing some amazing work themselves. And that's another thing I think too, to let the students start presenting on what they want to do. I've seen that to be more successful. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and sit in the back of the class, let them sit and take the podium and go to the front of the class and speak to what they're interested in and things like that as well. It's been some of the things that I've seen to get more project-based and just to see what the student knows. Because a lot of times they're going to ask you for a recommendation. And you kind of think of yourself like, I never really seen you do anything, or you just follow these things, or you had an asynchronous class that was online, you never met a student. And so having these different projects, having them either post or create YouTube videos, even if it is an online class, doing presentations is huge too, to be able to demonstrate that and generate that, the soft skills and helping them to, in that space too, just as a recommendation. Mm-hmm.
Has anybody found any luck with how you're getting that message out to students? If you've already identified your categories and work roles? Well, I'll share something that I did. I don't know if it's actually working or not, but I'm hoping it is. So I made a 10-minute video and I had my students all watch it in my program. So I wanted to attack this issue head on with my students. So you know what? I'll give you a little snippet. I'm not going to show you a 10-minute video because nobody has time for that. Just my students, not you guys. Y'all are busy. So let me share that with y'all. Okay. All right. So what I did is I embedded this. I'll actually show you. I embedded it in a section in my courses called Before You Start Your Course. And there were release conditions set on each item they had to go through. And I had them all watch this video, and then that's just some online stuff for Blackboard. But I also had them join a specific Teams group, and that's like a whole nother side note there. But they all had to join that Teams group to so that I could have one place, the networking. So Tony and I could have one place to put all the extra stuff that students need to be doing outside of their coursework into one stream, one Teams group that they can go to. So anyway, in the video, I'm referencing this roadmap. So I made this roadmap, and I'll share it a little bit bigger, before I did this work to really identify the names of the positions, and I kind of I knew protect and defend, but I wasn't very specific. I was a little bit vague in this when it comes to this roadmap, but I didn't make it look this pretty. Somebody else did that. But this is something that I think I shared at the last convening with my small group, but it is by no means a perfect roadmap, but I wanted to give students an idea. So I do reference this in the video. Basically, there's just a lot of the soft skills and outside the classroom things that students need to be doing. Some inside the classroom things too, but the pieces that matter. So I'm sharing this just to say that some of the activities, some of the steps to get them towards whatever the job is that they want are already sort of included in a document like this. So that's just another idea that you could create. And then if somebody says, well, what do I need to do? What am I doing in your program? And you can have something to give out or something to show or a point of reference to talk about. So find somebody with some good, I don't know, Adobe skills and that can make it look pretty for you. So that's one thing that I reference in the video. So the video itself, I don't even know if you guys can actually, hold on. So I just made a quick, PowerPoint, and you know what, I don't like hearing myself anyway, so I'm just going to mute that. So I talk about what to expect in the program, and then I specifically say, all right, we're blue team. That's what we're doing here. These are the certs that you need to prepare for. So I kind of give a general idea. And then what are blue team activities? Because a lot of students don't even know that. And then, of course, I reference that. And then I take that infographic that I made, and I just kind of, talk about a few of the specific things in there. So my suggestion, would be after you identify the category, your work role, create something that your program can use, and then disseminate that to all your faculty that's teaching your classes, so your message is consistent and students can refer back to it whenever they need to. So, and then I'm going to, I've already made this like a few months back, and I'm probably going to redo it again, so it's not perfect by any means, but I'm happy to share a template of what I used. If anybody's interested, just email me. You're welcome to it. It's yeah. So like we have some stuff specific to our school in here. So let's see. Yep. Okay. So I just wanted to share that as a way of dissemination for anybody that would like a strategy for that. And now, okay. I'm going to go ahead and throw this up here. This work role career pathway survey is, if you've already done the work, you can do this survey now. If you've not already done this work, we want you to do that first. So your homework would be to go to the website, identify your category, dig in, choose your 3 work roles. Okay, next is what are the names of the jobs students are going to be looking for in those categories, and then start to brainstorm, start to map out your roadmap of, okay, what are those, what does that path look like to get from zero, nothing to land to being in that career. So I will send this out in a link after the meeting. I think I can email that to everybody, or Cynthia. I think I can. So you guys can do that at some point, because it does take some time to sit, kind of reflect. And I really had to take some time and go, oh, what am I doing? What do we want to do? What have we been doing? And then that actually formed some of the changes that we made recently to the program, because it's like, oh, we're not cybercrime, so we swapped out some courses and put in an incident response. So it's a really good exercise. So, all right, I'm going to stop talking and open back up the floor, see if there's any other thoughts that people want to share, questions you might have, things that we can clarify or take back to CCN leadership. Anything you guys need, because we're here for you.
Since everyone's quiet today, I'm going to jump in.
Please.
And so I'm not sure how to interpret the silence. Maybe that means that you've already done this and this is boring you, or maybe it means you haven't done it and you don't know what to do to start. If that's the case, please talk about that. We are here to help, and we need to know where you are and where you need that assistance so that we can provide that assistance. So if you're in this meeting, I'm assuming it's because you're interested, and you want to, improve your program, improve your curriculum. So let's talk about that. If you don't want to talk about where you are, but what sort of help do you need? And I know everyone needs some sort of help.
Is the career pathway survey something that can be implemented at the beginning of like a student's cybersecurity program? Like they can take this survey before, so they can just get an idea of what they're actually trying to do. Like I feel like this is something that all students should be. I mean, something similar to this, if not this, is something all students should have to take, just to give them an idea. Maybe it'll have them ask themselves a question they're not really asking themselves. Like, you're going into this program and you want to get into cybersecurity, but what does that mean? Right.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of like breaks it down a little bit more, and puts an actual face to it. Like, oh, I actually want to do this thing specifically. I mean, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. This particular survey is for the CCN members, but making, something like that for students, I think would be really valuable as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's our next task, Victoria. We need to do one for for the students, so we could distribute it. I can help you with that. And what we can do as well, because a lot of sometimes, depending on the age of the student, they may have been watching a TV show and wanted to get into cyber.
Yeah.
And you know that, right? And then they start taking Security Plus and they're bored out of their mind. And you know, that's not the CIA they thought they were going to be dealing with, you know, right? So
Right.
so by being able to map it for them to be able to see where those things are and engagement with the clubs and seeing the different guest speakers and seeing the virtual meetings and making sure those things is tied in for this overall cybersecurity club that we're looking at across the CCN, that can keep them engaged. You know what I mean? Like, hey, yeah, you got to write this report and you got to do this other things, because that's one of the main things I've been fighting with is the level of attrition. You know, you'll have hundreds of them sign up. How many of them finish? You know, how many I see at graduation? That number is not the same at Wake Tech. And so for me, it's like, what is that difference? Is it people signed up for something they didn't know what they were getting into, things like that? Or did they lose the engagement because they spent a whole bunch of time maybe taking courses and maybe not even having assignments or seeing anything that's touching where they're trying to go? So I think that, yeah, I think what David said, that's a good idea. If we can go ahead and across the board put something together to help the students to map with that. And we could set up separate time on my calendar. We can work on that together.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
we're already going to talk about the clubs anyway. Yep. So I think that's good. I think the exercise of us knowing what our program is geared toward is also gonna, like, maybe not always line up with the career that the students want. So that's why I did the video, so that students knew this is Blue Team. That's what we're preparing you for. So if you're trying to come in here and just, do pen testing or, learn how to just completely hack the world, that's not what we're doing. However, this is like the protect and defend is the foundation that they would need to move towards a career, maybe outside of Blue Team. So I think that's just, all in how we present it to students. So I mentioned at the beginning the work role activity that I do with my CCT 110 students. I actually have them go to the work role, the framework, and I say, all right, these are the 3 categories that work roles we're prepping you for. SciTech is prepping you for. Pick 2 of these and research 2 of these, and I give them a whole bunch of things to do. Now, pick one other one. Look at all the rest of the categories on there. It doesn't have to be in protect and defend. Look at everything else. Find one other one that you're interested in it as well. So I kind of force them into researching what I'm prepping them for, but I also give them the option to look at something else so that they can see what's out there. And then they present those to the class. So everybody can hear maybe about a work role that they didn't even research. They didn't even know was out there, So that's the activity that's in the course shell repository. There's a work role file in there. So yeah. Cynthia, other suggestions?
No, I was just thinking, going back to something I know you and I have discussed previously, is I would love to have on on the CCN website, identifying the focus area of each school. So what work roles are each of you preparing students for? Because as Victoria just said, Forsyth may not be preparing this, student may be at Forsyth and that's not what they want. They realize that's not what they want. Well, there's another school in North Carolina that will be. So if we can help students find the right fit for them, that helps everybody. And
Definitely.
so the more that we can share that information, compile it in one place, the better.
Awesome. So would you see trying to think of what all you would want to list. Just
Well,
those specific
I was
work
thinking we would
or
have it searchable. I sent you that example where you
Yeah.
could put in, you know, a student or someone else could go to the website and say,
Mhm.
I'm interested in, there's a drop down. I'm interested in this role. And then it
Okay.
lists all the programs that prepare you for that role.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they don't have to read through all of them. It lists those, takes you to
Yeah.
their website. But to get there, we have to do the work to ensure
Yeah.
that our programs are aligned with those work roles.
Yeah.
And another thing I'd like to say is it's important for students to understand what entry-level work roles are as
Yes.
opposed to their career pathway, because they
Yeah.
may have an interest in a higher level work role. They need to know that these other roles are going to lead them to that. It's like, I
Mhm.
can't start up here. I need to start down here and work my way up there. So the more that we can lay that out for them and they can see that progression and begin to work toward that,
Mhm.
is very helpful for students.
Yeah, something I was just doing some research today and okay. That okay, well, a little too much. I just started, compiling entry level. These aren't all of them, but what does mid-level look like? What does advanced level look like? And then there's also some, believe it's CyberSeek does a really good job of that as well. So I believe that is, where are we at? Oh, do I not have it up here? Wait. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So starting level, mid-level, and advanced level too. So I think these are some good resources that, like you said, if we could put all of these things together, it would be really helpful for everyone too. So.
Yeah, Victoria, I actually use this website in my getting to know you discussion board for their last semester,
Okay.
hopefully last semester in the program. They have to share where they think they want to be along each one of those. And they've
Yeah.
really enjoyed this website.
Oh. Nice. See, that's a great activity that I would love to add, to that repository. So if you have anything written up, just shoot it over to me. I think that's great. And see, I know y'all are all doing some amazing things. I love it.
Yeah, and that's just it. If you're doing things like this with your students, please share. I mean, we know how time consuming this is to develop activities for our students, and the more we can share with each other, the easier all of our jobs become.
So what
Yeah.
I'll do after this, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, it was just me. I was just going to add one more thing, and I'm gonna zip it. But what I wanted to say was that we do have overall CCN mentoring program, and that if you guys have different industry partners, it's a lot of them that want to give back. Maybe they can't fully teach a course. We would love to have them come teach a course and things like that too. But sometimes they just have, would like to be able to help a student. Link them with the information with the CCN to be able to be on that list, so that, and that's what I'll be doing if, like, let's say, because I'm in RTP area, it's a lot of talent here in this area, they still may be able to help a student in Blue Ridge per se, to have that and to have that same pathway. So it doesn't seem like it's a limitation by where they currently live at and so forth. That's all.
That's great. Anybody else? All right. So if you think of anything else, feel free to shoot any of us on the committee an email. After this meeting, I'm going to send an email with the link to the survey for you guys to fill out once, and then just feel free to, take your time, because you really have to look and analyze, you know, what your program links to, what you're prepping students for, and let us know, any of us know, if you just want to bounce something off. Like, there's no ego for any of us. It's all about helping each other reach the same goal. So please feel free to shout out to any of us. We'll be happy to help. But yeah, I'll send out the link to the survey, the work roles website, and that CyberSeek link as well, just so everybody's got it in one spot. So last call for anything, comments, questions, suggestions. You guys ready for spring? Like I am?
Very much so.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks for sticking with us today. It was a long meeting, but I'm hoping it was a very valuable meeting for you guys to start putting your thoughts together, and we can't wait to hear from you guys, so we can all just move forward together. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Have a good
Thank you,
day.
Victoria.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.